北约撤离阿富汗后，阿富汗警察能否维稳？
We are sure that they could defend the country after 2014. I can tell you just that there are some positive development. I believe we could bring peace in Afghanistan in near future.
百废待兴的阿富汗如何在废墟上重建家园？专访阿富汗驻华大使苏尔坦·艾哈迈迪巴辛。
大家好，欢迎收看今天的风云对话，我是阮次山。对于我们旁边的邻国阿富汗，一提到阿富汗，大家脑海中可能会呈现的一幅一幅的有关战争的场面、枪战的场面、死亡的残酷的场面。所以我们在过去曾经遍访了阿富汗的各级的领导，包括他的总统卡尔扎伊2次，他的外长，他各种的官员。那么我们今天呢，再度邀请到阿富汗目前驻华大使巴辛来，请他谈谈，在美国在2014年以后要撤出阿富汗以后，阿富汗又会面临什么样的挑战？如果是说危局的话，阿富汗在美国撤出以后有没有危险？那么阿富汗目前他面临的内外交困的时候呢，又有塔利班这种势力在阿富汗境内缴获，所以阿富汗此后呢何去何从？我们来听听巴辛大使的看法。
2010年11月，北约决定在2014年年底前从阿富汗撤出所有战斗部队。阿富汗安全部队预计将在2013年年底从北约手中接管全部防务工作。目前，北约驻阿富汗的士兵人数不断减少，美军已不到7万，阿富汗国民军的人数增至近20万。有分析指出，阿富汗国民军开小差和人员耗损的情况非常严重。外界对北约全面撤军后，这支部队的维稳能力充满忧虑。
Mr. Ambassador, 2014, the NATO and NATO troops were withdrawn from your country. It's only about 1.5 years ago. So what's the general situation now in your country?
Actually, this is a lot of changes, positive changes in the country. Now we have our forces, like 240,000 police and army. They are very good trained forces, but still they have shortage of equipment. Especially.
Is that enough, 240,000?
Yes, this is enough. This is enough. We are sure that they could defend the country after 2014. And this is better for us. It's easier in Afghan proud to defend their own country. All the time, Afghans are very, like all the people, freedom lover people. We want to defend our country by ourselves.
The NATO and the United States, they promised to offer $4.5 billion to establish your Afghanistan forces to protect your country. Is that amount of money enough?
The projection is that it's enough for an army like this number. The important is the training for us, and the most important is that we should have enough and needy equipment, weapons. Now we don't have air forces, combat air forces. Afghanistan need it. And also we don't have artillery, tanks. So an army like in Afghanistan need it.
Yeah.
So we hope during this time we have this weapons for our army.
Where do those heavy weapons come from?
Actually, now we're discussing this issue with our allies in NATO and America. Anyway, we need it. According to their commitment and pledges, they should provide us.
Yes.
Otherwise, Afghanistan have the right to look for
other source
from other sources,
including China.
Any countries, including China. China, our good friends. So we expect that from China as well. As you know, that now the two sides is working on the security aspect of the strategic partnership between the two countries. This is part of this.
This year, when I gave an interview with your president, he said he's looking for the Chinese to provide the training to your new arms or forces. Is that still in process?
You know that now we have a very high-level relation with China, the strategic and cooperative partnership, which declared during the President Karzai visit in China recently in 2012. And also we signed an action plan for this strategic partnership. The cooperation on security field is part of this plan, action plan, and part of the strategic partnership. So we welcome the Chinese to train our forces, our national forces, here in China and also, if they like, in Afghanistan.
So what about the response from the United States and NATO that you sent your officers to be trained here? Are they in favor of this?
Actually, one thing should be all the time considered, that we are an independent government, independent country. This is President Karzai, and this is our parliament that decide according to our national interest, with whom and how we should manage our relations.
I read an article from the New York Times today. They said that the most difficult situation your armed forces face now is, for the past 6 months, the salary is low, but now they raised the basic salary for the lower ranking soldier to $260, but the desert still somewhere among 7% and 10%. That's a huge. So how do you see this problem? Is this true, or they didn't see the fact?
I think this is not the fact. Our defense ministry many times reject this kind of reports, but for sure in a country like Afghanistan, with all the process, with the new start from the zero, every process has some problems,
right,
including the army. But it's not the case as we hear from some sources. The defense ministry announced it many times, reject this kind of report, and this is not true.
世界银行表示，自从2002年以来，阿富汗已经收到国际社会近600亿美元的援助，几乎同该国的国内生产总值持平。过去10年间，阿富汗虽然在医疗、教育等方面取得一定的进展，但仍然是世界上最贫穷的国家之一。专家认为，阿富汗重建之路依然漫长，解决问题的关键还在于依靠其国民自身的力量。
From your experience, only 1.5 years to go, the United States and aid to withdraw from your country. What's the problem now?
I think, first of all, there would be not a lot of changes. I think maybe the big problem, if there is, this the economy.
Economy.
Yes.
So what it's your plan now? Because economy from a country who's been almost totally destroyed by the war, economy building up is very difficult situation. So what's your concrete plan now?
I mentioned these problems. This is for the part of the people. Our Ministry of Agriculture announced that Afghanistan is self-sufficient of the wheat. So it means that we could provide the basic livelihood for the Afghan people. And this is important. We can feed by ourselves. So if you compare this, the life standard in Afghanistan, for example, with the China, for sure we are a poor country, and the people understand that. And people are very hard working, and the government is also working very hard to manage the issues after 2014. But still, I want to tell you again, repeat that international community has responsibility after 2000. They are here, yes, and when they leave, they should take this into consideration, the situation after they are leaving as well.
In terms of the economic situation building up, what they promise in other than the military assistance, what they promise you to help your economic situation?
Actually, they support Afghanistan in all fields, and they really assist Afghan people. And we are thankful for this assistance. We should not close our eyes on all the positive things they did or doing in Afghanistan.
Right.
The question is, when sometimes we are talking about the shortages, we says that they could do better, as we could do better as well.
Right.
But it's not mean that they didn't do anything. They did a lot. And for example, this Afghanistan have now sufficient wheat for our feeding the Afghan people. This is a big progress. And we are see that 8 million Afghans going to the school, comparing during the Taliban, which was banned for all the girls. It's a lot of progress. When we see there is like 50 TV stations in Afghanistan in all this private, and they could run, this is a lot of progress. There's a lot of changes. All this, people see it. But still we say it could be better.
北约撤离阿富汗后，阿富汗警察能否维稳？
We are sure that they could defend the country after 2014. I can tell you just that there are some positive development. I believe we could bring peace in Afghanistan in near future.
百废待兴的阿富汗如何在废墟上重建家园？专访阿富汗驻华大使苏尔坦·艾哈迈迪巴辛。
欢迎回来。阿富汗驻华大使巴辛，他曾经念过牛津大学的法律系，在担任驻华大使之前呢，他是阿富汗外交部的发言人。我们刚才看到他以非常清楚的语言跟轮廓来描述目前阿富汗的种种的困难跟发展。那么我们接下来就要继续请他谈谈在阿富汗的未来当中呢，对于中国他们的期望如何？我记得以前的阿富汗总统卡尔扎伊对中国是非常，他认为阿富汗这个前途要看中国如何的去帮忙他们。那么今天我们再请巴辛大使来就这方面来做他的分析。
美国国际日报10月30日撰文称，随着2014年美军的撤离，阿富汗将重回原点。国际社会寄望重建能使阿富汗发展经济、扩大开放、改善民生，从而在根本上铲除恐怖主义，实现美国一直未能实现的目标。文章特别指出，国际社会非常关注中国将在重建中发挥怎样的作用。
Since China are your neighbor, the economic cooperation between you and China is a lot of easier. Do you have any plan to attract the Chinese businessmen and the private industry to come to here to your country to help you?
Actually, the important thing is that we have the solid foundation for our relation, this strategic partnership. This is very important. And China has this kind of relation with not all the countries, only few countries.
Right.
So it means that we are in a position to work, to cooperate in different fields and to the full capacity. There are some examples. China has invested in 2 big mines in Afghanistan,
right.
The copper mine and the oil. And I remember when President Karzai met here some companies leaders, and when he visited China, he said to them that Afghanistan prefer to have cooperation in China. We want to see more Chinese, and we facilitate for the Chinese company. Now there is the will from both sides, from our leadership and from the UN leadership.
Right.
So this is now the time for 2 countries, for the companies to work, to cooperate with each other. Yes, there is problems. But the 2 companies working in Afghanistan is a good example that if you work in Afghanistan, it is not as difficult as we think. In this time, who invest in Afghanistan? And I want to invite all the Chinese companies, and I want to encourage them. this investment in Afghanistan is not only a benefit for them, material benefit, which is bigger than any country's,
Right.
but also this is their contribution to the peace and stability in Afghanistan, in the region, and also to China. This is their contribution. I hope for sure they understand this issue, this matter, and I want to encourage, I want to invite them. This is the time. They should follow the example of the two companies which is already working in Afghanistan. And their work is very smooth.
阿富汗武装派别塔利班是1994年8月在阿富汗内战不休、派系割据的背景下诞生的。塔利班代表普什图族的利益，属逊尼派，信奉原教旨主义，致力于建立世界上最纯粹的伊斯兰国家。该组织从1996年到2001年被推翻前，曾统治阿富汗大部分地区。此后，塔利班分子在阿富汗与新政府及北约部队对抗，更将战火蔓延至巴基斯坦。
How about the situation for Taliban now? Are they really cause those problems like the Western media reported?
In Afghanistan, only we had suicide bombs,
Right.
roadside bombs, and sometimes attack by a few groups on a very visible targets. But there is no fight on the ground. They cannot resist our national forces. And this is very sad, really, this kind, because the civilian is more suffering from this kind of attacks, suicides. But this is not only in Afghanistan, unfortunately in many countries. So the Taliban, they're capable to do this kind of act, which is very brutal. And they are not capable to change the situation.
For the past year and two, there are reports that your president, Mr. Karzai, he preferred to talk to Taliban directly in order to achieve the peace in your country. Do you have any approachment with them now?
I can tell you just that there are some positive development. And we hope we finally reach this goal. Many of them are ordinary Afghans. They are not happy with this or that reason. And also, the best solution is a peaceful solution. So this is the priority for President Karzai. And I believe that with positive development, we could bring peace in Afghanistan in near future.
Recently, there is a girl in Pakistan, Malala, has been shot by the Taliban. So, do you worry that this thing could happen in Afghanistan because they are all Taliban?
Unfortunately, many times happened in Afghanistan like this. Many times.
Many times.
Many times by the Taliban, by the terrorists. They attacked, they killed many innocent Afghans. They burned down the schools. They killed the teachers, including the women teachers and the women activists. They many times. What is alert us, this incident in Pakistan? This alert us that the Pakistan should rethink about cooperation with Afghanistan. All the time we told them that the terrorist has no limit. They recognize no border. So this is a threat to everyone. And the good news is that we have a good relation with the Pakistani colleague, the government, and we have different kind of mechanism for cooperation. This is a very tragic incident, but we hope this tragic incident have a lesson to all of us. That the true terrorist, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, this is the enemy of all of us.
People outside your country and Pakistan, want to ask some question. For example, what's the problem of Taliban? What's their goal? What's they up to?
They are a fundamentalist, terrorist group which they want to have their own rule, own interpretation of the Islams, and they want to implement this interpretation not only in a country but in all Muslim countries. And this is a big threat for all of us.
So seems to us what their cause is, it's religious other than the racial conflict. So is there any possibility that you can solve this Taliban philosophy within the Islam ranks, your religion?
There is two different things. One is the Islam in Muslims.
Right.
Islam's in a very peaceful religion, like all religions. And the Muslims also peaceful people. This terror, this is have two reasons. The main reason is that this is a tool for foreign policy of some countries. They want to use it. But the second reason, which is they use it as a misinterpretation of the Islam and as ideology for this, the extremist ideology is misinterpreting of the Islam. This is not the real Muslims. So the problem, the main cause is they want to use this misinterpretation as ideology and as a tool for their extremist goals. And that is why this Al-Qaeda, the terror, came out from this idea.
我们今天和阿富汗驻华大使巴辛之间的这段谈话啊，大家可能对于阿富汗目前所面临的内政方面的危机啊，有了一个初步的了解，尤其是阿富汗在目前所受到的塔利班的肆虐。因为塔利班其实我们很多人不了解，塔利班并不是一个地方派系，它一方面是一种这个宗教信仰的派系，一方面它不只是在阿富汗，它在这个伊拉克，还有在其他中东地区也都有。那么塔利班在过去阿富汗战争期间呢，它有过各种的这个危及阿富汗的这个状况，也事实上它的力量现在也开始扩散到巴基斯坦。所以呢今天巴辛大使给我们做的这一连串分析，让我们也多多少少体会到阿富汗目前所面临很多的困难，而不只是美军撤出以后的困难，而是美军撤出以后这个塔利班对他们国内政局的影响。感谢你收看今天的风云对话，我们7天之后再见。